No, I think we're
101.
going.
Oh,
I think we were too busy talking then. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show, Ignite Your Purpose, episode 101. Today's subject, we're going to keep it quite short and sweet because I've got to be somewhere else in about 10 minutes. So, repetition. We like to repeat things. Sometimes that's the good stories, but it's also the negative and the energy sapping sometimes. And I had this at 5:30 this morning on the way to the gym, and I was getting this story about and see the client, and I got the brief, and I made what they asked for, and it was a pain in the ass. And then I took the job and I installed it, and it's not right, and they've changed it. And I was like, oh, okay, oh, well, that's interesting, and it's glad that you can accommodate that. And do you allow for that in your pricing scheme? And okay, but he's saying it in a negative tone. I've got this to do and that to do, and clients never happy. And then one of the other guys comes into the pool, and he gets a story, and it was only repeated twice, but it reminded me about how we love to tell the tales of woe, of something that's happened in the past. And sometimes it's just a discussion, but sometimes we're just bitching and repeating it for the moan of it. And there's a phrase: you are what you think, and you are how you act. And when you repeat this thought, which generally has a negative concept, you create negative hormones within your brain and your body, and that just keeps rolling on to making you more and more negative person. And on the flip side is when we have good stories and we tell good things, it makes us feel good. We send out these good vibrations, and then people go, Max, he's a great guy to hang around. He's always just full of beans, and he's always got something positive to say. Sounds quite cheesy, but it generally lifts the environment of those people that hang with you and around you. Of those, you hear these words said about yourself, and it's not in an egotistical way. Aren't I great? But sometimes you can say, you know what? I think I'm a nice person. I think I'm just a normal bloke. I once dated Emma, and I was introduced to her niece and her husband, and they said, he's just normal. What a compliment. Within
fair
the UK,
enough.
what a compliment. I like to think I'm normal, but I'm
I think you're
positive
pretty
normal.
good. No, I
But
hear you.
Max, how are you rolling this morning? Sorry,
Um,
1 second. Welcome back. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Max.
Beautiful. I think, you know what, John? I think you've actually nailed it on the head. If each and every one of us could have that self-awareness to pause or break that repetitive story, that repetitive movie we keep watching, right? Which John just talked about. It keeps just firing that same loop in the neuroplasticity and the same chamber in the brain, right? It just keeps taping it up and making that loop stronger and stronger and stronger. If we
Yeah,
can actually stop and break that,
yeah,
we have the chance to change. We have the chance to grow. We have the chance to expand. And I'm no different, John. 10 years in the game. And the other day, I was telling one of my partners, one of my companies, I said, well, if we do this, if we do A, you understand there will be a consequence for that, right?
yeah.
So that's always been my, let's go back to my immigrant mentality of if you don't work, you won't have money. There's the wiring. It's still the same but different, right? That loop is still there. Instead of going, if we don't do A, guess what? There's 100,000 other opportunities instead of saying you won't get B, right? I hope that makes somewhat sense, but it's
Yep.
just taking that pause and going, wait a second. There is so many other options to look at. Like John said, Buddy was talking negative. Well, hey, I know I did an amazing job, whatever. He's either going to be happy or he can go somewhere else.
You know what? And on Monday morning, and it's Mr. Piggin. He knows about this. He got in the car 5:10 in the morning to say we can go for a swim at a different pool, and he just freaking started. And I got about 3 miles out of the 8 to where we're going, and I said, John, will you just shut the fuck up with your negativity? Because I could deal with it, but not at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Amen.
So, and it's not that I
People,
don't care, but there was
people. You can't make these stories up, Mr. Piggin. This is real life, people.
Yeah,
I love it. I love that
Jonathan.
name. But it is
Yeah,
true. If you can just get that second to stop it or to pause on it, and like John said, look at it comedy wise. 5 a.m.'s too early. Let's shut the f up, okay?
yeah. I always think like, okay, it may have been damaging and it may have been scarring, but what does it actually achieve to tell this story over and over and over again? And as family members, you'll probably know, and they love to repeat a story, freaking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 10 times. But what does it achieve apart from putting you in the limelight whilst you're telling that story?
There you go.
It doesn't undo it. It doesn't change it. It just makes that emotion or that feeling more deep seated, so that it is stuck in there. Whereas you think, okay, done. I can't change it. What can I change?
There you go. Let's make it better.
How can I influence that incident? And if there's something you can change about your behavior or the people you hang with or the way you communicate or interact with people, great. Do it. Make those changes and be the better person.
Truth.
If you can't change it, you can't affect it. F it the F off. Because you can't do anything about it. Cognitive thinking.
Do you want to be at a pity party or do you want to be at a positive party, right? Like, it's that simple. And John said it. All you're doing is strengthening that one bond, and it'll never change. You'll just use that same because a thought is attached to a belief, which is attached to emotion, which is attached to your past. There is no way to change that unless us, cognitively try. So let's try, people.
Do you know what? There's
something we do every day, right, John?
Oh man, there's a quote by Margaret Thatcher, who was the first female Prime Minister of the UK, and it's like that. It's thoughts become actions, actions become words, words become. I'll dig it out and I'll type it up, but it's brilliant. It just says what you think, what you say, what you hear, what happens. It drives your behavior.
So, it does.
There you go.
So get out of that negative, get to that positive. This is what Ignite Your Purpose is all about, people.
Each and every day. The mind, body, soul connection.
That's it. We talk longevity through a healthy lifestyle, people. Negative to positive. It's us. We thank you for joining us. We could be anywhere in the world. Mr. John's got an appointment, so I have to do my due diligence and shut the F up. I'm sure we've talked about that. Thank you, people. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Max. See you. Speak to you tomorrow. Bye.